Hi, this is Caitlin Delon, and I'm going to be presenting my interactive whiteboard project. We want to explain a few things before I actually get started. On the big screen in front of me, you will see what the students will see. I am in my classroom, and due to the large amount of light, I typically have to turn off lights, so that's what I did here just to make sure you all can see. So the big screen will show exactly what the students will see on the board, and I have this small computer in front of me because my class does have a set of Chromebooks. So each student would have this out, so I wanted to be able to show you what the students see versus what is on the board and how they can interact. So if we get started, I used menti.com in order to create the presentation. So when students log on, they can go to www.menti.com and use the code 573486 to log in. So if on the screen right here you look and see, there's a spot for them to be able to type in these numbers, and then they are automatically brought to the actual screen. Now they can put it on full screen if they want, but I'm gonna leave it like this just for now. So as I go through my presentation, I want to show you some things that I have on the bottom of the board. So this is going to be a word, like a word art. So as I ask the question, so for instance, this says, what do you think are some themes and ideas presented in Fahrenheit 451? The students can actually go through the presentation, and up here you can see on their screen, it gives them the same question and the opportunity to do 3 answers. Now, I was able to go in, and I had some of my athletes who took my class put in some actual themes and ideas from Fahrenheit 451 that we discussed this year. And as the ideas come in, obviously the ones that are more prevalent, such as censorship, get bigger and bigger, whereas ones such as ignorance is bliss may be a little smaller because, one, they might have shortened it to ignorance, or it's just not something we may have thought of, such as government, or something just simple like knowledge. So I also have on a filter, so profanity will not be allowed through. The system will automatically block it. But it will not block things such as this that I added, which is like fire is bad, because you're going to have some of those and some of those kids who just put anything. So for instance, if I am this student right here and I wanted to add censorship, and that's all I wanted to add, I can click submit, and it automatically updates as each person does it. So if I wanted to add something that is completely different, such as we can just do reading, and I submit it, it will automatically be able to be uploaded on the board, and you can see the board change as it goes. Now, some of the things that I do like about menti.com is this aspect right here. This shows me how many students have participated. So if I know I have 24 in the class and I only have 23 here, on my screen I can go ahead and look and see which students have participated and which ones haven't. And as well as this question block right here, if any students have a question, it'll show up how many here, and I can go in after I'm done presenting, go through the questions and see if those questions have been answered. So if we go to the next screen, okay, you should notice on here that this popped up that says the presenter has changed the slide. So the students will be able to know if their screen doesn't match, but they'll be able to see it here. So as we go through and we talk about different things, I have this set up at the end of a unit where 2 of the ideas and themes, censorship and ignorance versus knowledge, is going to be 2 main ideas that we talk about. So I'll have those 2 up here ready. But we'll actually go back on a later slide and look at that first word art and go from there. So again, what I do like is there's this way to assess your students for each slide. So if they like it, they can click on the heart that's on their screen. I don't expect to see too many of those because, I mean, it is school. They're going to be liking slides. I'm not sure that's going to happen so much, but the rest are important to me because this one right here lets me know if people have a question, such as before. So if they aren't sure about something, but they're not sure what question that they have, they can click on here. The up arrow and down arrow, that's for I understand or I don't understand, and I know whether we need to stay here and talk about censorship some more, or I can go on if everyone is understanding, and then there's that area for exact questioning. So using this Chromebook, again, I can show you that down here, if the student wants to like, they can go ahead and do that. It sends me a little notification on my board. If they understand it, okay, sends me that little notification. Don't, it sends me that. But if you notice, it switches the numbers. So I can have a student who doesn't understand it, and we go through, and by the end of the slide they get it, they can go ahead and switch the answers, doesn't mess with my numbers. Then as you can see, that question bar does come up. So from here, like I said, as I plan to use this at the end of a unit, we have the actual embedded link. So if I go to my computer, okay, I have it easily pulled up here, that way I don't have to mess up the student computer so much. They can go ahead, put in their actual earbuds, and be able to review this video by themselves, or if I wanted to, I could just show it up here on the board to make it more of a class type thing. So they can go ahead, watch the video, and then if you notice right here on the student, it says ask a question. So it's questions from audience. So if they view the video and the video is about censorship in Fahrenheit, they can say something as, I don't understand how Clarice plays into the idea of censorship as shown in the video, okay? And they can send it to me, okay? So when they send it to me, it also has an area where they can elaborate on their response. They can say that they understand it after, anything like that. But then I get it on my screen and I'm able to go here and I can pull up actual questions and kind of go from there and see what I need to elaborate on before moving to the next idea. Because the next idea is going to be ignorance versus bliss, and it automatically changed. So I'll go through here. Let me put this back on full screen again, okay? Which this is good for me because you can have a countdown, you can ask questions again, you can actually hide results. So if I don't want my students to see what others are posting, I can go ahead and go that route. But typically I won't do that so much because I do like to have the student interaction and the student being able to see each other's ideas and elaborate on them. So here, it's kind of the same thing. We go with a different topic. Ignorance is knowledge. The students can give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, they understand, don't understand, ask those questions. And it gives them another link to be able to go and find examples of ignorance and knowledge in Fahrenheit 451. However, what I really like is this screen. So let me make sure you're seeing the same thing. Yep. So it says, think about the word bubble we began with. What other themes and ideas are presented in Fahrenheit 451? How are they presented? So what Menti does here is it allows those students to go in and give additional ideas. So at this point, I would tell them to think back to the word bubble that we did in the beginning. And the different ideas such as government control that aren't necessarily the most prevalent, but they are stuff, because I have honors kids, so I have to kind of get them to see beyond just face value of a book. So obviously if I asked a regular class, what is a theme in Fahrenheit 451, most of them are going to say censorship. Most of them are going to say ignorance versus knowledge. However, how many of them are going to get the government control, are going to get the different sorts of relationships between characters? So that's what I'm looking for here for my honor students. So going on government control, just so we stay with that topic, the students can come on here and they can answer the question. So government control, and they have to elaborate on it. So they would have to say how the firefighters, which is ironic because they actually start fires instead of put them out, burn books. So as they submit it, okay, they're going to come on the board, and it's different than the word wall because one, they're being asked to do two different things. They're being asked to give their idea and elaborate, but however, everyone's idea shows up. So we can have 12 students saying government control, but they may have 12 different ideas, 12 different reasons. And so all of the ideas will start to pop up here, and we'll be able to more accurately gauge how close or how far we are from the various themes and ideas that we are being presented with. So just to give another example, I'm just going to put just kind of test so you can see how the different bubbles come up. And so as they come up, they are just kind of going to be spread out everywhere. And so this will allow us to see everything in one place. So when you get to the next screen, this is where they're actually going to have to begin to do an assignment. So for one of my 10-point questions, it's on knowledge of the book that leads into this. The other one that I created is dealing with themes and censorship and ignorance is bliss and knowledge and government control and everything that I plan to talk about during the class. So aside from that, they're also going to have to write an essay where they choose one of the themes aside from the two major ones, because this is an honors class, and they have to compose an essay explaining this theme and how it was portrayed in Fahrenheit 451 using at least 3 pieces of evidence in a 5-paragraph essay. But what's good about this is I can get that feedback right here on if the students understand what they have to do, if they have any questions about their assignment, and go from there. So this allows them to not only be engaged within the assignment, but it also allows them to take this idea that is on a regular base level and expand it to something that an honors class is participating in, that's challenging them and that's giving them something that they can interact with as a whole class without having to necessarily have them in small groups or break them up or have this big long class discussion that can't be monitored, or that someone in the back who's afraid to talk in class, they can still have an active voice and active participation and share their ideas without having to vocally do that. So that's why I like this presentation with Mentimeter. So I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did creating it, and that you are able to use this within your classrooms.